and welcome to our latest episode of So Can We Talk About. So for this episode of So Can We Talk About, I'm going to entitle it, Let's Get Straight Up About Iron Fist. Now, I talked about, I think in video 1, 3 things you should be excited about in 2017. And one of the things that I included were Marvel's Netflix The Defenders. And now in the series The Defenders, we've already met Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Daredevil, and now we're just waiting to meet our 4th, Iron Fist. Now, if you do not know who Iron Fist is a character from the 70s. He's a superhero. His name is Danny Rand. He is a gentleman who learned the ways of an ancient martial arts and Asian culture. White man. I could give you the whole rundown, but you could honestly just wiki it. Now, me personally, myself, I'm not a big fan of Iron Fist. I don't think I ever really was. Hearing that he's signing on for, that we were going to get him in The Defenders, I was like, well, you know what, Marvel, you made me care about Jessica Jones, who I didn't care about before. You made me care about Luke Cage, who I did care about, mostly because of what he represented. And you sort of made me care about Daredevil, not too much, but, just the thought of Daredevil was like, a lawyer Marvel drama, meaning we could probably get a She-Hulk because Jennifer Walters is a lawyer as well, and I cannot wait for that. That's really what my hope was for Daredevil. But Marvel made me care about Jessica Jones, mostly because of the portrayal of Kristen Ritter as Jessica, and I just love the stylistic take and the relevance of Luke Cage. Honestly, I love both series so much, and if you haven't watched either, you have to check them out, especially with Defenders coming out. But with that being said, we're getting straight up about Iron Fist. Now, this past weekend, now I had already done my videos for the week, and then following me doing the videos the next day, which tends to really happen, news comes out every week, guys. Following me already recording, another trailer for Iron Fist came out. Now, a lot of, I don't want to say hullabaloo, because to me it's kind of like a serious thing what was being talked about when Iron Fist was announced and casting for Iron Fist. But in watching the trailer, it had everything that the Marvel Netflix series have, fighting in close quarters, backstory at Rosario Dawson's, there's Claire, which she kind of really holds everything together. And so it's just like cool. But watching the actor that they chose to play Iron Fist, Finn Jones, who is a Game of Thrones alum, which I thought he was fantastic in. But watching him go through the motions of the trailer and the previous trailer, the only thing that really stuck out to me was Iron Fist should have definitely been Asian American. Now, this has been a thing that's been going on for a while in the comic books community, and in the superhero community, the nerd community altogether, especially in the last couple years, because we've all been really pushing hard for proper diversity in our media, in the media that we love so much. So a lot of us, before Finn Jones was announced as Iron Fist, as Danny Rand, a lot of us were just like, hey, you definitely should hire an Asian American male or an Asian actor to play our superhero. Really change up the game of Marvel. You're really talking about diverse issues. You really want to push it for 2016, 2017. Hire an Asian American. It's definitely worth it. Now, the big pull for that is, before I get into all that, the big pull for why that's essential and why we really push hard for it, and we're still really pushing hard for it even though it's already cast. I posted the trailer and my thoughts on the trailer. It was really simple, the trailer is cool, but Danny should have really been Asian American. And I got into this whole thing with a Facebook friend of mine for about half a day going back and forth why Danny Rand should be Asian American. Now, when the news first broke out, sometime last year, I even posted it on Twitter, and I was attacked I was attacked by a bunch of hurt crybabies for stating my opinion on why Iron Fist should be Asian American. Now, let me break it down for you. Danny Rand, Iron Fist, was created in the 70s. Now, during the 70s, you know, it was very cool, and it's gonna be broken down, and hopefully I can get this clear across to you guys how I feel. And if anything, I will go to my Facebook post and actually read what I wrote to make it a little bit more clear, like a little script. You know, Danny Rand, Iron Fist was created in the 70s. Like I said, I don't know too much about his history, but I know the baseline of the history because I am a comic books fan, and these are things you need to know about, especially when you're into, you know, since I'm so excited for the Defenders, I like to look into things before I jump head on into it. Now, the creation of Iron Fist and Luke Cage, we'll go with Iron Fist first, was, you know, at the time in the 70s, it was definitely more palpable to a wider audience, and still holds true today, just in a production, direction, media standpoint, not through a fan standpoint anymore, to have a white male lead explore different cultures and express himself through a different culture, and, you know, be a part of a different culture. And you know, and baseline argument for it is, you know, at the time it was perfectly acceptable for a white male or a white lead to get involved in other cultures, but it still wasn't acceptable to have, let's say in this instance, an Asian lead be a hero. A great perfect example that I like to use is the fact that Bruce Lee created Kung Fu in the 70s, after, you know, coming off of Green Hornet, which he was Kato, which he was Kato, the sidekick to Green Hornet, also coming off of his movies as well. So he was getting a lot of international fame and, you know, a lot of recognition, and became, you know, so well known even to this day for a lot of the things that he done and the strides that he made for Asians, and for Asians all over the world, actually. So now he created Kung Fu, and now you can even check this out. This is not just me spitting shit. You know, if you ever watch his biography movie, it just look him up and you will see what I'm saying is true. Now, he created Kung Fu, and, you know, he was headed to the studio to do it, and then it turns out the studio actually cast David Carradine as the Asian lead, and it's just like, so they hired a white guy to play an Asian guy, but they didn't want to hire the Asian guy to play the Asian guy, so it's fine for, like, it's yellow facing. Yellow facing is quite prevalent in Hollywood and always has been. So it was, you know, the creation of Iron Fist was definitely during the time where, again, it was perfectly palpable and acceptable in the minds of the studios and the audience at the time to still have a white lead, but not have an Asian superhero, Asian hero or an Asian lead, unless he's the villain, or he's the also white Sifu, or the exotic love interest. Now, my whole thing is, I'm still gonna press this issue. It's 2016 when this was announced, 2015, when this whole Iron Fist stuff started to get announced, and we were all pushing, it's time for a change. You know, we understand the history of Iron Fist, you know, a lot of us comic book people do, but it's time to change up the game. If you really want to be diverse, let's be about it. Let's talk about it, let's be about it, you know. Don't just talk shit, be about it. But we didn't get it, and a lot of people are still really upset about it, especially now that we see the actor who's playing his villainous rival is a glorious, glorious man with amazing skills who I perfectly would have bought as Danny Rand. Plain and simple. I just gave you the whole backstory and why I started to feel so strongly, but here's the main point. The Iron Fist Danny Rand story is not exclusive to the white narrative, and here's why. I really, you know, even after all the discussion that I had, I really don't think that there is a story that is exclusive to the white narrative, unless we're talking about medieval European history. But talking about Danny Rand in this case, you know, and here's my pitch. Here's my pitch for all you guys who are like, well, you know, you gotta stick to what the story is, and I'm gonna call bullshit on that, and I will give you an example why at the end of this longer explanation. If you had chosen an Asian American, now an Asian American can, let's say, a young man, because you know we want to keep it a guy, I suppose. Asian American young man who is rich and, you know, still loses his family. He's either, you know, you can even, if you don't want to get that diverse, you could even hire a mixed race Asian American. A young man loses his parents, same way, we keep the same storyline, but make it Asian American. You know, Asian American loses his parents. Basically, with an Asian American, it's very simple. Young man is still trying to find the balance in his life between where his family comes from, where his culture comes from, and his life in the States, what his identity is. And there you can have the exact same story as Iron Fist. And my friend's argument was, you know, well, it's all about how these people treat Danny because he's white. Well, you know, in a lot of Asian communities and a lot of people of color communities, mixed race people or people not born originally where your culture is from, you know, do get segregated and ostracized because you're either considered not Asian enough, not black enough, not Hispanic enough. You know, these are things that happen every day. I mean, these are things I get told all the time. You know, being of mixed race, and I get told I'm not enough of one thing or I'm not enough of another. And then still also being ostracized by life and the way things work in the U.S. So for Danny Rand to be Asian American still fits the story. The story of Iron Fist is not exclusive to the white. It's literally just changing, and what it should have been from the beginning, an Asian lead, an Asian superhero, and it would have still made perfect sense. There's nothing about the white Danny Rand story that doesn't copy paste to that of the struggle of an Asian American or a mixed race Asian American. So I'm still very passionate about this issue for anyone who wants to, you know, put them up and say, oh, but you have to, you know, keep it close to the story, to the origin story, and you just want to be diverse for the sake of diversity. Well, yes, I do want diversity for the sake of diversity, considering that still a lot of our stories are getting told through the white narrative. A lot of our superhero stories are still getting told through the white narrative. A lot of our TV series and our movies are getting whitewashed and still told through the white narrative. So what would have been the major issue with changing Iron Fist to Asian American? Nothing would have been the issue except for the butthurt racist who say that Danny Rand can't be Asian. Now, oh, you gotta keep it close to the actual story, and I call complete bullshit on that, because how many times have studios, writers, and artists changed female to male characters, blacks to white? Whitewashing happens all the time, and it's still happening. Good example, Ghost in the Shell, and I believe the Netflix series for Death Note. Yeah, so these are Asian stories that are still getting told through the white narrative. And I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of people fighting me on this issue. And I'm so sick of people getting up in arms of, oh, but he needs to be white. No, Danny Rand does not need to be white. He really doesn't. He should have been white. He should not have been white to begin with. Oh, but it's what the writers wrote. Well, yes, but again, let's take a look at the times. Even if a writer did want to write him as Asian, I'm pretty sure the publication would have been like, oh, you know what? It's not gonna sell, it's not gonna fly. We can't have an Asian man as a lead. It can't be. And it happened all the time, and it's still happening today. So you can't tell me that, oh, we don't know, we weren't in the writer's room. We didn't talk to the creator. You know what I mean? And it happens all the time. And all we do is continue to see stories where it's perfectly acceptable for a white person to go into other cultures and have to acclimate, and we have to deal with his struggle of, you know, finding acceptance. Well, you know, we have to find acceptance within our own cultures as well. So you're pretty much telling our story just through white eyes. Like, oh, it's like, And I don't understand how people don't understand that. So let's be straight up about it. You're just really upset because you want to stick with more white superheroes, more white faces, instead of actually changing things for the better. I mean, we've had sexualities change for the sake of story. You know, we're still struggling to hire actual trans actors for trans roles. We're still struggling to hire actual homosexuals, gays and lesbians and bisexuals for these roles. We're still having trouble hiring black people for black roles and Hispanics for Hispanic roles. Proper representation, not some weird caricature puppet stereotype. So really, let's be straight up about the issue. Danny Rand should have been Asian American. And I will continue to press about this issue. There's no way that anyone can tell me, oh, he needs to be white. There's no way that you will ever convince me on this matter. But I will do my damnedest to make you see that this step that Marvel Netflix took was the wrong step. It was a misstep. Now, even when you look at the Defenders photos, set photos, and preview photos, let's face facts here. Luke Cage looks like a token. Why it's a perfect picture, but let's fit 3 white people, 1 black guy. He looks like a token, and it just pisses me off because that, to me, I know I feel bad for thinking this way, but it kind of devalues who he is. You know, Marvel Netflix really could have taken a step up and really showed a push of force for hiring an Asian actor to play Danny Rand, so we could have had a diverse cast. You know, and it's not just stuck within the cast of Luke Cage. You know, because Luke Cage is all about, yeah, I can't wait for Black Panther for the same thing. But this is what I mean. We shouldn't just be exclusive to these 2 things. It should be all over. Let's face facts here. The majority of Marvel heroes in our media are white. And they'll say, well, you know, Gamora's an alien. Gamora's green. Shut up about that. So can we talk about how we really do need to be straight up about this? Like, straight up now tell me, you know, like, I'm just really annoyed. And every time I talk about it, I get even more annoyed. But let me know what you guys think. And when the Defenders come out, when Iron Fist come out, I'm not gonna not give it a chance. It's already put a bad taste in my mouth, but I'm gonna have to see it through. I have to see it through. I have to. Because I just have to see how it works and if it's going to work. But yeah. So I'm definitely going to make another video probably after completely consuming all of the first season of Iron Fist. And then go from there, and then the same thing with Defenders. I mean, I'm excited for the Defenders at the end of the, I'm still really excited for the series, mostly because it's Sigourney Weaver. But I will definitely make another video when Iron Fist comes out. But let me know what you guys think. How do you guys feel about the casting of Vin Jones as Danny Rand? How do you feel about the whole diversity push? Would you have liked to see an Asian American or just an Asian actor play Danny Rand? I know I still really, really would love to. I know things are already set in stone, but hopefully, Marvel Cinematic U starts to drift away from the Netflix U, and just we can hire a different Danny for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah, so what do you guys think? Please share this video. I do want to get this out because, I really do want to shut a lot of people down about this issue. I want to expand people's minds. I want to open people's minds to the thought. So again, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And remember, even though people are taking our stories, taking our art, taking our lives and making it their own, we all got to start somewhere, so do not give up. Remember, if we continue to push for diversity and keep shouting about it and keep making it known that this is what we want, this is what we need, this is what we deserve, the change will happen. It's slowly starting to happen. I see it. But I feel bigger changes on the way. So, peace out, guys.